a guy named Victor Indrizzo, who's in Alanis's band. He just texts me one day. I'm reading it on my phone like, what? The text was, I just recommended you for the Sarah McLachlan gig. And I'm like, first I like read it a couple of times. I'm like, really? Okay,
Is
cool.
there a typo here?
Yeah, it's like, really? I knew it was real just because I know that those two bands, like the Sarah and Alanis bands, like kind of, they're musicians that kind of circle or go in and out of both bands.
So sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
I mentioned last year I was at Blues Fest every day. So I'm there for like 12 days.
Yeah.
And two of the headliners, one day was Alanis and like 2 days later was Sarah McLachlan.
Sarah, yeah.
Again, to show you that they do kind of work in the same circuit. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
they show up in the same places. In fact, they played at Budweiser stage after us last year in the summer or whatever. So Victor recommended me, and then I heard from her musical director, who's a guy named Vincent Jones. He's an original member of the Grapes of Wrath, so he's a big part of like Canadian music history in general. And he's been in Sarah's band since I guess Sarah opened for the Grapes like in the late 80s or something like that, and that's when they first met. And then they stayed in touch, and Vince started playing with her in like the mid 90s or so, and was like along for the ride when it just blew up and got huge. So he's been there for all of that. And so, yeah, he called me and said, hey, so we have a couple of gigs, festival things. And I had, quite a while to learn the music, which I was really grateful for. And they gave me a whole bunch of material and made it so that it was easy for me to prepare, which is beautiful. And believe it or not, that doesn't always happen. Again, so I showed up. My first gig was like a sound check, like a long sound check, but a sound check and the gig. Melissa, Luke, Vince, Sarah, and myself, and they all had.
And her gigs aren't small, so it's not.
No, yeah, and they'd played together for years, and so they all know the stuff. So I knew that all I had to do is just like be super, super prepared, and it should all be okay. I always tell people like it looks like, when you see people doing stuff like that, it looks like it's easy, or it's that thing of like, oh, you make it look easy or something. But I worked so hard to be prepared for that, and I tell people that all the time. Like it's not. I didn't just show up and play the gig. Like it took me. I wanted to get inside the material so that when I showed up, it felt like I was inside the material as opposed to just knowing it, And it's been a crazy ride. Like, just again, like one of the big highlights being playing at Budweiser stage. And I saw so many concerts there. So to be on that stage myself with her of all people, and also the Ottawa gig, which you saw, was a big one for me too, because it's just like, okay, I'm in my home country's nation's capital and I'm playing with probably the biggest female artist or among the top couple of female artists of that entire country's history. And here I am, and I'm just finding myself in these pinch me moments, and it's not lost on me that that's happening, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's really incredible.